Broadcasting live from WOUB TV in Athens, this is Newswatch.
The City of Athens' last brick-and-mortar video rental store is closing down. Good evening, I'm Mackenzie Pyatt.
And I'm Chelsea Sick. Thanks for joining us. East State Street's Premier Video will close its doors Saturday. Manager Jason Werner of Premier Video confirmed on Monday that the store's last day of operation would be this Saturday, November 12th. Werner said video rentals are no longer a viable business in America with popular streaming services. The store on East State Street has been open since December 1997 and is part of a chain based out of Minnesota.
A lawsuit filed against the City of Athens in 2010 by the owners of a Columbus Road building has been settled for $100,000. The case was recently dismissed in the Athens County Common Pleas Court. The city has been sued by Larry's Incorporated and Dr. James Reistenberg and Timothy Lavelle. They claim the city was responsible for a storm sewer backup that flooded the basement of their building and damaged supplies and equipment. The Athens Board of Zoning Appeals unanimously approved variances needed for a distillery to move to Athens. Kelly Sauber and Deanna Schwartz, the owners of Fifth Element Spirits in Meigs County, wanted to move the operation to West State Street in Athens. The variances approved on Tuesday were required because of the building's closeness to residential areas.
Athens County Commissioners are buying property for a new Athens County EMS station. The property at the intersection of Routes 56 and 682 is being bought for $150,000 from EMS funds. The plan is to build the EMS station with administrative headquarters on site. The new location will replace the EMS station on West Union Street, as well as the rented offices on North Plains Road in the Plains. The county discussed this purchase for 5 years. Construction is slated for 2017. A fewer percentage of Ohio University dormitory residents appear to have voted for the Democratic presidential candidate Hillary Clinton this election year than the same demographic did for Barack Obama in 2012. Out of the 429 students who voted in the city of Athens, about 59.6% voted for Clinton this year. In 2012, about 64.2% of the 3,567 students who voted went for Obama. Businesses all along Court Street experienced a power outage from 11:30 to 12:30 today, Around the same time yesterday, half of Court Street, Simpson Street, Mill Street, Palmer Street, and River Park lost power. AEP did not have an explanation when we contacted them earlier.
Good evening and welcome to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. Temperatures have cooled down quite a bit this week. Today, not even making it out of the 50s here in Athens. Right now, those temperatures are still a little bit chilly. We are sitting at 53 here in Athens, 54 up in the capital, and 55 degrees in Ironton. Now, as we go overnight, we'll continue to cool down quite a bit at 46 degrees at 8 p.m., 44 at midnight, and 40 degrees by 4 a.m. We'll be seeing clear skies across the region tonight, so a nice night if you want to go out and look at the stars. A little bit on the cold side, though, up in Newark at 39 degrees, 40 degrees the low over in New Martinsville, and a little tiny bit warmer down south at 41 in Ironton. Now, toward the morning and through tomorrow, we are going to have a cold front move into the area. I'll let you know in a little bit how that will affect temperatures for tomorrow.
Columbus will host a post-election forum for state officials, political leaders, and others. Topics of discussion are expected to include higher education, health care, the state's next 2-year budget, and perspective on Tuesday's election. Panelists will include Chairman of Ohio's Republican and Democratic parties, Ohio's budget director, and leaders of Senate and House. Ohio lawmakers also plan to wrap up their work for this legislative session in the next week. Several dozen activists rallied in downtown Cleveland to protest Donald Trump's election as the next U.S. president. The rally of less than 100 people on Cleveland's public square on Wednesday included individuals concerned with LGBT rights, reproductive rights, and other issues. No violence was reported in the rally that lasted about an hour before some protesters began marching through the city. Activists ended the march back at the Cleveland State University's campus.
Central Ohio voters approved the measure to eliminate criminal penalties for possession of small amounts of marijuana. Possessions of less than 200 grams of marijuana is now a minor misdemeanor, subject to no fines, jail, or probation in the city of Newark. 53% of Newark voters approved this new law. The new law will allow police to concentrate more on the city's heroin and opiate problem. The city of Newark is located 40 miles east of Columbus with a population of about 48,000. Unofficial numbers show West Virginia having a higher voter turnout this year than in the previous general election. Figures released yesterday show a 57.2% participation in Tuesday's election, up from the 55% turnout in 2012, but down from the 60.8% in 2008. Lewis County had a turnout of just under 69%. Preston County with a 68.7% and Hardy County with 66.2%. McDowell County voter turnout was a low of 36%. That's why I didn't go, and then she cued me.
Several dozen activists rallied in downtown Cleveland to protest Donald Trump's election as the next U.S. president. The rally of less than 100 people on Cleveland's public square on Wednesday included individuals concerned with LGBT rights, reproductive rights, and other issues. No violence was reported in the rally that lasted about an hour before some protesters began marching through the city. Activists ended the march back at Cleveland State University's campus.
Central Ohio voters approved the measure to eliminate criminal penalties for possessions of small amounts of marijuana. Possession of less than 200 grams of marijuana is now a minor misdemeanor, subject to no fines, jail, or probation in the city of Newark. 53% of Newark voters approved this new law. The new law will allow police to concentrate more on the city's heroin and opiate problem. The city of Newark is located 40 miles east of Columbus with a population of about 48,000. Unofficial numbers show West Virginia having a higher voter turnout this year than in the previous general election. Figures released yesterday show a 57.2% participation in Tuesday's election, up from the 55% turnout in 2012, but down from the 60.8% in 2008. Lewis County had a turnout of just under 69%, Preston County with 68.7%, and Hardy County with 66.2%. McDowell County voter turnout was a low of 36%.
Prosecutors sentenced former Veterans Services Director to 3 years in prison. 52-year-old Rebecca Lee is accused of stealing thousands of dollars from her county agency in Ohio. She's accused of stealing a historic World War II flag that features a swastika and signatures from soldiers after their liberation. She's ordered to pay over $19,000 in restitution to the Pickaway County Veterans Service Commission. The flag is still missing. A mother pleads not guilty in the death of her 2-year-old child. 23-year-old Crystal Reed of New Straitsville pleads not guilty to involuntary manslaughter, endangering children, and reckless homicide. Harmony Casey died January 8th. She was covered in small cuts, bruises, and had a brain hemorrhage, but there's no definitive cause of death. The child's siblings were removed from Reed's home from the course of the investigation. Reed was indicted last month. President-elect Donald Trump visits Washington. The details on his first official space. President-elect Donald Trump and his VP Mike Pence arrived in Washington this morning for the first meeting with the men they'll replace in January. Trump, who's criticized President Obama for years, stuck to the conciliatory tone he's been using since his win on Tuesday. Diane Gallagher has more from the White House.
President Barack Obama.
We now are going to want to do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you succeed, then the country succeeds.
Welcoming President-elect Donald Trump.
I have great respect. The meeting lasted for almost an hour and a half, And it could have, as far as I'm concerned, it could have gone on for a lot longer.
The closed-door, one-on-one White House meeting is a key step in starting the smooth transition between administrations.
I very much look forward to dealing with the president in the future, including counsel.
It is important for all of us, regardless of party and regardless of political preferences, to now come together, work together to deal with the many challenges that we face.
So while the two sometimes bitter enemies, who had actually never met until today, have spent years bashing one another.
I mean, he finally gave the birth certificate. He should have done it a long time ago.
So he can finally get back to focusing on the issues that matter. Like, did we fake the moon landing?
These moments mark a public effort to put up a united front. As Trump transitions from running for office to running the office, he met with his party's leaders who control both the House and Senate. Behind the scenes, his team is reviewing thousands of resumes, attempting to put together the next administration. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
First Lady Michelle Obama and Melania Trump also met, but there was no chance for reporters to see them together. The two toured the first family's residence and talked about raising kids at the White House. Smoking marijuana for fun is now legal in California, and the work to regulate, police, and prosecute cannabis has just begun. Drew Bolia reports.
We're thankful that it passed.
Business was busy this morning for Kimberly Cargile at Therapeutic Alternatives, a medical marijuana dispensary in Sacramento.
We've had a number of phone calls, and we've been fielding phone calls all day.
People are wondering, so can I get cannabis without a doctor's note?
We don't have recreational stores yet.
Short answer, no. With the passing of Prop 64, here is what became legal today. People over 21 can consume marijuana in private, possess 1 ounce of marijuana, but you cannot consume it in public places, nor carry it near places like schools. The courts and people facing marijuana possession charges were affected immediately as well.
Whatever was charged as a felony and should be a misdemeanor, we were reducing them to misdemeanors as they come along.
Steve Grippy, the Sacramento Deputy District Attorney, says his office has about 75 pending cases for review. His team is working through many unknowns for both prosecutors and police.
We don't have studies that have been done to tell us what level constitutes impairment.
Determining impairment could take years, as could seeing the first recreational pot shop.
These things take a while. They take time.
The Bureau of Marijuana Control has until January 1st, 2018 to finalize industry regulations from cultivation to sale.
After that time period is when folks might start seeing marijuana businesses cropping up in their jurisdiction.
But there is still local control, and some municipalities may pass on the marijuana biz altogether.
Thanks, Drew. Voters in California, Massachusetts, and Nevada have approved recreational use of marijuana. Macy's says it's permanently dumping Trump, his clothing line anyway. Macy's dropped the line last year after he called most Mexican immigrants rapists and criminals on the first day of his campaign. CEO Terry Lundgren said Thursday Macy's has no plans to restore it now that the election is over. He told CNBC if Hillary Clinton had a suit line, they wouldn't carry that either because it's not a political company. Macy's still carries Ivanka Trump's line of clothing and accessories.
On Wall Street today, stocks varied across the board. Here is a look at stocks of local interest.
Do you love sugary drinks? It may put you at a higher risk for developing prediabetes. That story's still ahead.
And no rain looking in the forecast right ahead, but there is a lot of sunshine. With that sunshine though, a few cold nights may be on the way. All that plus your extended forecast coming up on Newswatch.
Professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open.
You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us. Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB, and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Welcome back to the Newswatch Weather Center. I'm Ananda Harris. Right now in Athens, 53 degrees. Those winds are out of the southwest at 7 miles per hour. Across the region, temperatures all pretty nice in the low to mid 50s. 54 up in Columbus, 52 over in New Lexington and New Martinsville, and 55 down in Ironton. Now for today, we were right around normal for our almanac. We hit a high of 59 degrees today, that normal being 58. Our low though, take a look at that. We were almost 10 degrees below normal at 28 degrees last night for our low. So very, very chilly night. Not quite as cold though as that record low of 22 degrees. And right now, looking at our precipcast, we have high pressure dominating the region, giving us those nice clear skies. As we move overnight, that nice clear conditions will continue, but we see that cold front moving through the region, which will continue to push through tomorrow, dropping temperatures quite a bit for tomorrow night. Now overnight, we're going to hit a low of 38 degrees here in Athens. We'll see those nice clear conditions, fairly seasonable for this time of year, but it will get a little bit colder this weekend. More on that in just a minute. Overnight lows all in the upper 30s and low 40s with those clear skies tonight. And tomorrow, no bus stop forecast since most of those kids do have the day off of school for Veterans Day, and it will be a beautiful day out there for any of those kids who do have the day off. We're going to start the day at 43 degrees, but we're going to warm up quite a bit to 55 by 4 p.m. It's a very nice fall day. The high for tomorrow is going to reach 56 with those mostly sunny skies. Very pleasant day. Across the region, highs all in the 50s tomorrow. We're going to get a little bit warmer at 59 in Ironton. May push 60 depending on how much sunshine we have. We could have a few clouds moving into the region though in the afternoon. For the 7-day, we see that cold front is going to drop those temperatures quite a bit for the weekend, only hitting a high of 52 degrees for Saturday. And take a look at those lows, hitting 28 degrees again for the low on Saturday night. So very cold. Make sure you bundle up if you are heading out this weekend. We're going to start warming up though after that as high pressure begins to build in the region. We're going to hit 57 degrees for your high on Sunday. And in the beginning of the week, temperatures all around 60 degrees. Again, those lows also warming up with those highs. Lows are going to be in the low to mid 30s and 40s by the beginning to midweek. And by Thursday, we're going to start warming up even a little bit more, getting into possibly the mid 60s for the end of next week.
New research adds to the body of evidence showing that sugary drinks are bad for your health. Specifically, they can increase your risk for diabetes. Kim Hutcherson has the details in today's Health Minute.
Adults who drink sugary beverages regularly have a 46% higher risk of developing prediabetes compared to those who avoid or rarely consume them. That's according to researchers at Tufts University. They analyzed information from the Framingham Heart Studies Offspring Cohort, a program that monitors multiple generations for factors that contribute to cardiovascular disease. Data on more than 1,600 middle-aged people over a 14-year period was studied. Researchers found that higher intake of sugar-sweetened drinks, colas and other carbonated beverages, along with fruit drinks like lemonade and fruit punch, was associated with increased insulin resistance, a risk factor for type 2 diabetes. People who drank a median of 6 12-ounce drinks a week had insulin resistance scores roughly 8% higher than low or non-consumers. This study adds to a significant body of research that has linked sugary drinks with an increased diabetes risk. The good news is that, if it's diagnosed early, prediabetes is reversible through lifestyle changes like diet and exercise. For today's Health Minute, I'm Kim Hutcherson.
Thanks, Kim. To avoid over-consuming sugary drinks, look out for beverages with carbonation, colas, fruit punch, or lemonade. President Obama welcomed the Cleveland Cavaliers to the White House today. The Cavs got the invitation after beating the Golden State Warriors for the NBA championship. The Cavaliers met with President Obama after his meeting with President-elect Donald Trump. And now over to Russ Heltman with more sports.
Hi, I'm Russ Heltman here with your nightly sports report. This year's Veterans Day weekend includes some marquee matchups around the country to honor our heroes. And it all kicks off tonight with the Browns matchup against the Ravens, culminating in the Armed Forces Classic on Saturday. Those stories and more after the break. And as always, stay tuned to WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities, and of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.
Ohio University students really have a huge sense of pride in our campus, in our school, and in our education.
People don't come to Ohio just to go to college. They come here to become a Bobcat.
It's a really unique atmosphere.
Bobcat pride is having that natural camaraderie.
Bobcats are just happy to be Bobcats.
My favorite time of year at Ohio has to be homecoming.
When the alumni come back, you can see that the love of this university doesn't fade.
Once you're a Bobcat, you're always a Bobcat.
My professors really care. They care about my grades, they care about my opportunities, they care about my experiences, they want me to succeed.
They give those opportunities to the students.
My professors have been extremely approachable.
Literally, their door is always open. You can go to them with pretty much anything. Everyone knows your first and your last name and where you sit in the classroom.
I really never feel like I'm being talked down to or just being taught material. I always feel like I'm having a conversation.
And they want to share those opportunities and those experiences with us.
I knew that I wanted to come to Ohio University from the very first time I visited here.
There's something about the campus that grabs you.
It was really comforting.
Very welcoming.
It's one thing to write down your name and your GPA and that kind of stuff and send it in. It's another thing entirely to be here and see how great it is.
The campus here is just electric.
Absolutely gorgeous. Everything just looked really college-like.
I looked at my mom and I said, "This is it." And she said, "The tour's just started." I said, "No, you don't understand. This is it."
Welcome back. I'm Russ Heltman. The tortured fans in Cleveland may finally see their Browns bring home a win tonight as they travel to Baltimore for another edition of the NFL's Thursday Night Color Rush contest against the division-leading Ravens. The Browns are 0-9 and coming off of a brutal 35-10 defeat at the hands of Zeke Elliott and the Cowboys. Many people believe this to be Cleveland's best opportunity to win all season, as they get a chance to topple an older Ravens team who are on a short week and coming off of a very physical game with the Pittsburgh Steelers last Sunday, where they were outlasted by Ben Roethlisberger and company 21-14. The Browns have choked away victories in just about every way imaginable this season, but a 20-point blowout lead suffered in the 25-20 loss to the Ravens in September should be all the motivation this team needs for some Thursday night magic. After dropping their first game of the year to the Atlanta Hawks 110-106 on Tuesday, the Cleveland Cavaliers gained company atop the Eastern Conference standings as the Charlotte Hornets kept rolling in a 104-98 victory over the Utah Jazz, tying the Cavs atop the East at 6-1. The Wine and Gold now travel to our nation's capital for a Friday night showdown with John Wall and a Washington Wizards team that has struggled to a 2-5 start out of the gate. Records withstanding, this isn't a Wizards team to be taken lightly after last night's dominant 118-93 victory over the Boston Celtics, a game that saw Wizards All-Star John Wall ejected for the second straight contest. It's finally tip-off time, folks. College basketball is back in full swing this weekend, and the Armed Forces Classic is starting the season off with two premier matchups from Honolulu. Sean Miller and his 10th-ranked Arizona Wildcats will take their shot at Mike Izzo and his reloaded Michigan State Spartans, who fall in at number 12 in the preseason poll. Following that contest is a matchup of two historical powerhouses, in number 3 Kansas and number 11 Indiana. The Classic is played out on Veterans Day annually to honor the men and women who've served our great nation. Ohio men's basketball will get their season underway at the Conville on Saturday in a matchup with the Southern Jaguars. The Bobcats dominated Rio Grande in last Saturday's exhibition, 87-56, and the Bobcats come into the season with some of the biggest expectations any Saul Phillips coach team has had in recent memory. The return of MAC Player of the Year Antonio Campbell, along with Jerron Simmons, one of last year's national leaders in assists per game, and a litany of other key players like Jordan Dardis and Kenny Kaminsky, has the Bobcat faithful eyeing a MAC championship title and a punch ticket to the big dance. Lady Bobcat basketball will set out on their MAC championship title defense when they travel to North Carolina for Sunday's clash with Big South foe High Point University. The ladies come into this campaign with expectations of repeating last year's MAC tournament results, as they were picked to win the MAC East in this year's MAC preseason coaches poll. Senior guard and reigning MAC Defensive Player of the Year, Kiara Lampkins, figures to be the key cog for the Lady Bobcats after being named to the MAC preseason player watch list. Lampkins finished second-team All-MAC last year and is primed to make the first-team jump this time around. Now back to you, Chelsea.
With Black Friday just 2 weeks away, retail giants Walmart, Target, and Best Buy are rolling out their plans. Walmart and Target will open their doors at 6 p.m. on Thanksgiving Day, and Best Buy stores will open an hour earlier at 5 p.m. Best Buy will also close at 1 a.m. early Friday and reopen at 8 a.m. All three major retailers are also announcing expanded plans for digital and in-store deals.
Overnight, we're going to hit a low of 38 degrees in Athens. We're going to have those nice clear conditions, so a beautiful night. And then for tomorrow, it's going to stay clear and sunny, so a very pleasant day with a high of 56 degrees. May see a few clouds in the afternoon as we see a cold front move into the region, but that is going to be a dry cold front, bringing some dry, cold air down from the north. That's going to drop temperatures quite a bit for the weekend, only hitting a high of 52 degrees on Saturday, and those lows on Saturday going to be in the 20s. So make sure you bring in any plants or other vulnerable things that you have outside. For Sunday, though, things are going to start to heat up a little bit as we have high pressure building after that cold front. It's going to be a high of 57 degrees, still a pretty chilly night on Sunday, but then for Monday, we're going to start warming up a bit more with highs for in the 60s for the beginning of the week. Those lows are going to heat up a little bit too, getting close to seasonable. 38 degrees for your low on Monday, and then for Tuesday and Wednesday, those lows are going to even be in the 40s. Over to you, Mackenzie and Chelsea.
Thanks, Ananda. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Chelsea Sick.
And I'm Mackenzie Pyatt. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org. Have a great night.
Friday nights are all about high school football, but when the games are over and the helmets come off, it's time for some gridiron glory. I'm your host, Danny Dean, back under center. Don't miss a play this season. Join myself and the rest of our team on Friday nights at 11:30 on WOUB and catch us again on Saturday mornings at 11:30. We are committed to bringing you the stories of players, coaches, and communities. And of course, we can't forget about some highlights. We all know there's nothing better than Friday nights and gridiron glory.